how does a data orchestrator support streaming? I would like to slice this into two parts, actually. First part is soft streaming, and the other one is more hard streaming. Soft streaming means something refreshing rather soon. Well, for a lot of people, that can mean actually daily or hourly. As a data engineer, this is rather a bad job, and they don't care about it. But there are so many banks that have a big issue with intraday data refreshing in their data pipelines. So what we have presented here is a very simple means of making sure that you are up to a couple of minutes, fresh data can stream in a soft way with micro batches easily and consistently.
Yes. What I always, when I speak about streaming, I always like to remember on this picture, which is a kind of very important picture in the Kafka world, where kind of person is trying to go over the street and saying, if I would know 5 minutes ago, if there was a car, would I go over the street? Yeah. And maybe in this moment, I would say also, this is very important. I should actually look left and right and take a look and not go over the street. But what we have to reason it here is that it's very important to differentiate between who is using data, who is producing data, and what is actually a data use case. And that the streaming, real-time streaming, is not always the important, and that it brings different challenges, and that dependent on what we want to achieve, actually also the amount of data can change, and what are the transformation logic, what can change. And always how we have to think about this is that if it's needed for fast, so basically how long or how much a person needs to react if you see this information right now on the screen. Yeah. And what does it mean is, if I look now on the historical data for last 2 years, and I want to say, okay, in next month we are doing something else because I see that last 2 years we are doing something else, then this is not real time, and it's not needed real time. And this is very important to kind of differentiate what does it mean. And what Georg said is that if you correctly orchestrate the data, that you can really come to something what we called in my previous job near real time, which is as fast as possible, but not real time, but still good enough, because people at the very end of this pipeline react with this information as they get it, and till the new information is there, they are kind of improving the older state. Yeah.
And the important thing is here that the asset graph helps us facilitate eventually syncing in a consistent way with state over to all the pieces in that graph. There is the possibility of having a requirement for hard streaming. And there, it's easy. You have to pre-provision certain resources and make sure that ideally they speak things that our existing asset graph already can speak, meaning SQL, being declarative, being easy to reason about by your analysts, and then make sure that ideally DBT is a supported interface, and then you can easily add these persistent streaming engines into the graph. If you have more complex needs for hard streaming, you may require custom coding, but you still could start and stop your streaming, let's say, transformations directly from the orchestrator.
I would argue if a machine is at the end of this pipeline, then it's not good enough. If a person is at the end of this pipeline, then it's potentially fine.
Yes, but what it means is streaming can be tricky, especially if you have hard real-time constraints. You will need to talk to your engineering team. So